Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. So alhamdulillah, man, we're gonna be discussing the 4 ways that Shaytan attacks us. Well, 4 of the ways that Shaytan attacks us. Right? And that's in the Quran. But showing some of the trickery of this and the confusion that's caused with, we're going to discuss a previous conversation, right, about the praying 5 times and the 3 times and some of the misconceptions that a lot of Muslims actually have, right? And we're going to discuss it, but also show the trickery that Shaitan plays in it. So, us Muslims, man, who come from a Christian Kafir background, no matter what that background is, right? One of the first things that we have to realize is the word prayer and praying and Salah aren't the same thing. Okay? And I'm mentioning that because when it comes to the Quran and people look at particular ayats, they're looking for the word prayer. Prayer and Salat isn't the same thing. So let's say even with the kuffar. So if you say to the kuffar, let's say you're not feeling good or, whatever going on, and you ask them to pray for you. They're going to say, in the name of Jesus, we hope you get well, or, I pray that you get well in the name of Jesus, right? But then if you turn around and say to them, now worship Jesus or worship God, however you see it. They might bounce around and sing, little stuff they do in church that they consider to be worship. So same thing with a Muslim. If a Muslim say to you, pray for me, I'm a little sick, pray for me. Of course, we're going to say make dua, but that's praying for them. Some of us as Muslims, we can't separate those 2 definitions, that Salah is an act of worship. Salah is a form of glorifying and praising Allah. Prayer isn't. Prayer isn't. So although we call Salah, we'll use the word prayer in English, right? But the concept is what we need to adjust. And this is why when people see it in the Quran where it's saying glorify and praise Allah at these times, or remember Allah at these times. So when you wake up in the morning and it's time for Fajr, when you understand the remembrance of Allah more than just this basic thing of, like a lot of us can't get out of our mind, where it's just simplified, and we just saying Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. That's remembering Allah to some of us. So when it's saying remember Allah, we don't realize that making Salah, worshiping Allah when we wake up in the morning, that ayat doesn't mean make Salah to us, because it doesn't use the word prayer in English. Right? Or you will see somewhere say establish Salah at these times, but that don't mean that it's just a minimum of 3 times, or it's just confusion come in because, like I said, we don't fully understand what the word Salah means. And I'm going to show the trickery of Shaitan. So because we don't understand that, and we don't see the word prayer or this and that in the Quran, this doesn't mean that it's referring to make Salah. right? Because, like I said, we don't fully understand that making salah is worshiping Allah. Now, during that salah, there's small sections where you can make dua and pray for healthiness. Like if you sick, pray to be cured, pray for a job, pray for a spouse, pray for whatever it is that you want in this dunya. Pray for the hereafter, pray for knowledge. There's parts in the salah when you could do that. So technically, the word salah in Arabic is like a connection, to connect, to make a connection. So if we didn't rely on trying to look for English equivalents, so what your Quran is saying, when you connect to Allah at this time, before sunrise, before sunset. Make your connection to Allah. Matter of fact, let me pull it up. Let's try to Google it. Hold up. Hold on 1 second, Doc Key. Okay. So let me hold that up, man, and see if that'll come through clear. Even if you look at it on Google. So it's saying, so what I type in, the word Salah. Salah means make a connection. But anybody, once you start studying Arabic, you'll get taught these things. You know what I'm saying? And when your teachers and them talk to you, they'll be like, did you make your connection today? Or do you need to make a connection before class start? And first, in the beginning, you'll be thrown off. Like, what you mean, make a connection? Salah. Did you make Salah? And we'll think we're correcting them. What you mean? Did I pray? No, did you worship Allah? Did you make Salah? So, when you look it up, it says, yes, Salah in Arabic means to make a connection, right? As its Arabic root words mean to connect, to link, or you could loosely translate it as to communicate, right? In the Islamic context, Salah refers to a ritualistic form of a connection, connecting to Allah, right? It serves as a direct spiritual connection between the believer and Allah. So when you understand what Salah actually is, then you can understand when it says in the Quran, glorify and praise Allah at these times. And then you understand with your Salah, when you start with Al-Fatiha, what does it start off with? Glorifying and praising Allah. Alhamdulillah. Rabbil Alameen. Right? Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. This is all praise is due to Allah. So your Salah starts off with the praise and glorifying of Allah all throughout the whole Salah. When you understand Hadith, right, and you see that when people stop praying, right, we all have some angels that's listening. Like, so we know, like you have people who reject Hadith. They don't believe in Hadith. They don't know where particular ayats in the Quran that connect this Hadith, but they accept certain Hadiths if it benefit them. Like where they say, when you make dua for somebody, there's angels that's listening to you, and then the dua that you make for the person that isn't in their presence, or you make dua for them, the angels will make the same dua for you. right? So this is letting you know that the angels is listening. Now they may reject hadiths and we don't believe this and we don't believe that, but you'll see them making dua for people because they want the angels to make that same dua for them. But they don't know, when you look at the rest of the hadiths, when you stop making salah or when you get negligence in your salah, the angels don't recognize your voice anymore. They don't hear you. Why? Because you've lost that connection. Salah is what connects you to Allah Azza wa Jal and the angels that's listening. You see what I'm saying? You've lost that connection. And this is what the hadiths tells us. So that's why it's important to get up and make this connection these particular times during the day. Right? So this is why some Muslims don't take Salah as serious as they supposed to, because to them, Salah is a prayer. And their Salah is based off of their needs, wants, and desires. Because, like when you pray, oh Allah, can you help me with this? Can you give me that? So that's when you will see some people, their salah is as serious as they needs. They don't have a job. Let me start praying so that I can get, but they don't say, let me start praying. Let me start praying so that I can get a job. So they're not really looking at salah as an act of worship. They're not looking at it as glorifying and praising Allah. They looking at it as something that they have to do to get what they want. Because that's what prayer means in English. It doesn't mean connecting to Allah. It means asking for what you want. You see what I'm saying? If something going on, if something happened to somebody bad in their family, if something going on with their job, if something going on in their relationship or their marriage, and they be like, okay, I've been negligent, I ain't been praying. Let me start praying so my marriage can get better. Let me start praying so I can find somebody to marry. It's not about worshiping Allah for them. And sometimes it's due to the understanding that we have and what we've been taught. So even to the point where, because of the trickery of Shaytan, we can't even recognize what the Quran is telling us due to the miseducation that we have. Whether we miseducated ourselves or somebody we looked up to miseducated us, that got miseducated by somebody that they looked up to. So this is something, man, that people need to start to understand. Salah is about making a connection, man, to Allah and staying connected. You see? And some people don't understand, man, like when you understand what provisions is, right? Anything that Allah provides us with. We breathe so easily that we don't understand that air and the trees and the greeneries and the wind and things that clean the air up and make it breathable for us. We don't even see air as a provision. But let somebody take a pillow and put it on your face, your nose and mouth where you suffocating. And at that moment, you will know that air is something that Allah provides us with. This is a provision from Allah. It's something that we need to maintain and sustain our life. Right? Rain. Some of us lose focus as to how rain is a provision. You see what I'm saying? To the point where rain nurtures the trees, the grass, the greeneries, the flowers that bees use to make honey. And honey that we consume that has a cure in it. It grows the food for the cows, the lamb, the chicken, everything that we eat. We need water. We need fresh air so that they can breathe. These are provisions for Allah Azza wa Jal. When you understand just air and water as provisions for Allah, why wouldn't you want to worship Allah 5 times a day? Like, why would you argue against it? You should want to worship Allah 10, 15, 20 times a day. When you understand that the provisions that Allah provide for us. And see, some of us neglect that because what we consider to be provisions, we feel like we go get it. I'm hungry, I can buy something to eat. I can go work. I can con somebody out of some money. I can hustle. I can steal. So we attribute certain things that we consider to provisions as we got them with our own hands. And not even understanding that Allah provided us with the ability to earn with our own hands. So even still at the end of the day, it's provision. Just like how we can move our fingers like this. And when you think about your fingers, and you could pick your phone up with your fingers, and you can dial numbers with your fingers, you could text with your fingers. Allah provided you with the ability to be able to do that. It's people that don't have hands. If Allah chose to, Allah can just completely cripple us and have us in a bed where we can't even do nothing but move our eyelids. If Allah chose to. So the fact that you can stand up, sit down, move around, Allah provided you with the ability to do that. And Allah can take it away from you. There's people who went to sleep and woke up and couldn't even move. There's people who went to sleep and woke up blind. You see what I'm saying? People done went to sleep and woke up blind, man. You know, I done seen some people, man, got into a fight and went and tried to soak in a tub, man, and slipped into a coma, man. And when they finally came out the coma, only half of their body worked, like they had a stroke. And all they did was got in a fight and went and tried to soak in the tub, man, after a little rough fight. Fell asleep in the tub and went into a coma. And when they woke up, only half of their body was moving. And they was like that until they passed away. You know? Allah provides us with this stuff. Why wouldn't you want to worship Allah 5 times a day? Because people look at it, they don't look at it as a connection. They don't look at it as that they worshiping Allah. This is what keep you connected to this deen. Because once you start to move in a certain way, and I try to get Muslims to understand this, man, and I'm always speaking to myself first, right? Once you step outside of the confines of this deen, you open up the door for Allah Azza wa Jal to allow any and everything to happen to you. And you might not recognize it. You might see it as something good because it might fit in with your desires. You see what I'm saying? And when we get to the part about the Shaytan, more that's going to make sense. So because we don't look at Salah the right way, we can't even really truly understand or recognize what it's telling us to do when we read it in the Quran. And some people don't know how to take it serious because it's a prayer to them. I don't need nothing right now. You see what I'm saying? I don't really need to ask Allah for nothing. I'm good. Or I'm good. Let me make sure I pray so Allah don't take this stuff away from me. But they not looking at it as, let me stay connected to Allah and His deen. Let me stay connected to Sirat al-Mustaqim. You see what I'm saying? Let me make this connection so that the angels hear my voice. You see what I'm saying? So they listening to me when I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And you know, when you get into certain hadiths, you know, and certain explanations, even when you look at the tafsirs, sometimes it might take a little hot minute for you to reconnect. So when people fall short and they get negligent and they may feel like they can pray 1 time a day, they can pray 2 times a week. Now, understand this too. You know that you're supposed to pray 5 times a day. You accept that as in the deen. but you just have deficiencies. I'm tired. I don't really feel like praying. That's one thing. You know, whatever your reason is, but you accept that you have to pray 5 times a day. Some people who argue against it, but they may say it's 3 times a day, they may say it's 2 times a day. Because technically when you start to dig into it, well, we ain't going to that. But some people look at something and they say, well, morning and evening. So that's 2 times a day. So I only need to pray when I wake up and I only need to pray before I go to bed. I've heard this. I've heard this. 3 times a day, the same thing. But the ones who argue against the 5 times, every single day of the week, if they believe you're only supposed to pray 2 times, they don't even do that though. If they believe you're supposed to pray 3 times, they don't even do that. You can look at their track record if you sit down with them. I'm saying for the people I've had conversations with. You can look at their track record for 6 months straight, and they probably didn't even pray 1 time every single day for 6 months. These is individuals, man, that Shaytan is playing with their mind, man. Because Shaytan's goal is to get you to miss the mark. And Shaytan don't care how much you miss the mark by. Shaytan don't care if you miss the mark by a little bit, and he don't care if you miss the mark by a lot. And when you pay attention to these people, their life be full of turmoil. But they so used to turmoil that they don't recognize it. This is just how life goes. And when you had that Islamic eye, you could see not only is they being punished by Allah, you could see that they lost, and you can see that Shaytan is playing with their head. And just like the ayat that I read from Surah 50, ayat number 5. Once you turn away from that remembrance, that dhikr, and I don't mean Allahu Akbar, because there's different names for the Quran, the dhikr, that reminder. Once you turn away from that real remembrance of Allah, those salats, getting up and remembering Allah at this time when you wake up, remembering what Allah done for you, allowing you to breathe, allowing you to sleep peacefully, and nobody or anything came into the house and harmed you while you were sleeping. Because people don't even have awareness when they sleep. Allah actually protecting you and allowing the angels to do their job and protect you while you sleep. You see what I'm saying? And by not recognizing this, and you start to turn away from those remembrances, like Allah said, they end up entering into a world of confusion. And then they become confused people. But Shaytan playing with them the whole time. So look at this. Look at this right here. Let me wrap it up, man, with this Quran ayat. So when you go to Surah 7, ayat number 17. Let me read ayat number 16 first, right? So Shaytan said to Allah Azza wa Jal, because you misguided me, because you are the one who's left me astray. See the arrogance in that? Although it's a true statement. I chose to go astray, and you left me astray. I chose to choose misguidance. And because you let me make that choice. You know, and see, you could see these things in people, man, that Shaytan play with. They have that exact same mentality. They'll be mad at you because you let them make the choices that they wanted to make, even if you advised them. So this is what he's saying. Because you misguided me, because you left me go astray, I'm going to ambush the children of Adam. I'm going to ambush everything that comes from Adam. And I'm going to lay on Sirat al-Mustaqim. I'm going to lay on a straight path that you set out there that leads to you and leads to Jenna and leads to good and peace in this life. I'm going to lay in that path and I'm going to ambush them. So how is Shaytan going to be able to do that? One, he's going to have to cause people doubt. They're going to have to start to doubt their religion. They're going to have to start to doubt and reject what Allah is saying in his very book. Because once Shaytan can get you off Sirat al-Mustaqim, the door is open for anything to happen to you. Not staying connected to Allah Azza wa Jal through Salah is one of the first places to start. It's one of the first places to start. And when you understand the risk, the things that Allah provide us with, like eyesight, being able to taste food, being able to smell. Just imagine that you couldn't smell and you walk into a house and it's some carbon monoxide, or you walk in a building and it's some carbon monoxide, or a gas line is broke, but you can't smell. And you just go into a room or something and then you sit up in there and die because you don't have no sense of smell. When you understand it like that, then you know just the simple fact that you can smell is a provision from Allah. This is something that Allah provided you with. Not only the fact that your nose is a vessel for breathing and filtering air. When you go and start to learn the sciences between nose breathing and mouth breathing, you will learn how to breathe through your nose more than through your mouth. And then you'll understand what Allah has provided us with a little bit more. So what Shaytan says is, so if he gonna land Sirat al-Mustaqim and ambush the people to trick them off that path, one of the things that he's gonna do is cause you to have doubt and debate and different feelings about things that's in your religion. So like I said, knowing you're supposed to pray 5 times a day and you fall short is one thing. But thinking that you're not supposed to, and you may be diligent on 2 prayers every single day, you've actually fell into kufr, because you're rejecting what Allah Azza wa Jal came with, because you don't fully understand what Salah is. This is Shaytan playing with your head. You see what I'm saying? You done fell into kufr. Now what he continues and says, so this is a part of his ambush for them on Sirat al-Mustaqim. I will approach them from the front, but this is an attack. I'm going to attack them from the front. I'm going to attack them from the back. I'm going to attack them from the right. And I'm going to attack them from the left. This is 4 different ways that Shaytan is going to attack everything that comes from from Adam, no matter what religion you choose. But by him being on Sirat al-Mustaqim, the Kuffar don't know nothing about Sirat al-Mustaqim. They lost their Sirat. They abandoned it. They corrupted it. The Jews, they lost their Sirat. They abandoned it. They corrupted it. Guess what's happening to the Muslims right now in 2025? We starting to lose our Sirat because we abandoning Sirat al-Mustaqim, man. Shaytan is doing this exactly what he said he's going to do. So this is 4 different ways which we gonna break down. And I did a video on it before, but this time it's gonna give a little bit. We're gonna try to do it just a little bit more detailed, because we need to look at ourselves, because Shaytan might be playing with our head, man. So then it says, right? So Shaytan continues and says, after I tricked them like this, you're going to find that most of them is ungrateful anyway. They don't even appreciate the fact that you provided them with the sense of smell. You see what I'm saying? Like, even in nature, do you know that sometimes, I'm going to word it like how the Kufar words it. Sometimes the way to a woman's heart is through her nose. And see, that's going to go over some of y'all head. Sometimes the way to a woman's heart is through her nose. Because your scent, you don't know what your scent does to a woman. This is something that Allah put in them. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes the way to a woman's heart is through her nose, man. Some of y'all probably will never understand that. And then some women who listen to this, they gonna know what I'm talking about, even if they disagree with it. The verbiage might be a little bit too strong. You know, they reject first, listen second, and then accept it after they figure out how to tell it to themselves. You understand? They reject it first, listen second, and then they accept it after they figure out how to tell it to themselves. But let's move on. So, he's telling Allah, you're going to see that they ungrateful. But what Allah tells them is, get out of Jannah. Get out of here. You are disgraced and you are rejected. You're rajim. You know what I'm saying? You're rajim. You're rejected. You're disgusting. You're despicable. Get away from here. And then Allah guarantees, I will certainly fill up hell with you and anybody who follows you. Anybody who falls into the trickery that you get them to fall into. Everybody is going to have some sins. Everybody is going to slip up. But there's things that we're supposed to do to avoid slipping up. Once you find yourself living a life of this trickery, it's part of your everyday life. Just thinking to the fact, man, of some of the Muslims, because of a group of Muslims who never learned Islam from anybody, that wanted urban inner city Muslims to follow the version of Islam that they pushed to them and called everything Arab stuff. Praying 5 times a day is Arab stuff. That's that Sunni Islam. We understand the Quran better, although we don't know no Arabic, although we don't know that Salah means to connect to Allah and stay connected. To us it means prayer. So they push the words out there that the Quran says you're only supposed to pray 3 times a day. Just imagine how many Muslims that done fell into that. And then they really have abandoned Salah. They'll argue with you. They'll reject it. Even if they see 5 times a day in the Quran. And they'll say, that doesn't mean prayer. But Salah doesn't mean prayer either. It means to glorify and praise your Lord. This is about worshiping Allah. Salah is about worshiping Allah, not asking for stuff. And that's why some people, when they don't need stuff, they not praying. And although I'm saying praying, but let me say it technically, they not making salah. They not connecting to Allah. I'm using the word prayer because I know this is what people is used to hearing. But sometimes when some of y'all talk to people and try to get that message to them, say to them, when you pray for somebody, you ask Allah to give them something or to remove something. When you worship Allah, how do you do that? Praying and worshiping Allah is 2 different things. And this is also why some people can't understand when I'm saying to them, when Jumar service on Jumar Salah on Fridays, once you get up with the intentions to go do the right type of ghusl, and then you head to the masjid a certain type of way, you in Salat the whole time. And you go to the masjid and you sit down and you waiting for the khutbah. Some people don't understand that the two khutbahs, the talking part, they don't understand how that's Salah. Because to them, how is this a prayer? This isn't praying. Because they don't understand that Salah means connecting. You connecting to Allah. So when you understand that and you going through the process and the steps, you're connected to Allah. And that's how after the Jumar service is over with, after you do the 2 rakats, as long as you don't start cussing, as long as you don't start having vile conversations, saying this and that about this girl body parts, or women sitting with other women saying this and that about other male body parts, you're still connected to Allah. So you're still in Salah, even up until the next Salah come in. And then if you hold it on after that Salah, you in Salah till the next Salah go on. But see, some people can't fathom that because they don't know what Salah even means. How we in prayer? How's the khutbah part of the prayer? It's because you connected to Allah, my guy. Prayer is just asking for stuff, man. And Shaytan done tricked them into falling into negligence, see? And if you don't get yourself together, Allah guarantees right in the Quran that all these same people swear they know so much. But that right there, Allah guarantee you're going to go to the exact same place that Shaytan went to. And then without going through a lot of tafsirs, just to make it short, and like I say, sometimes I like to pull things up on Google just so that the regular, everyday person can go look it up and see if it's pretty good. So look at this right here. So Shaytan attacks from 4 directions. From the front, from behind, from the right, and from the left. Okay? So some of the ways, now keep in mind, this is really about causing you to doubt certain things about the religion, causing you to argue certain things about the religion. Because the Quran tells you, once you reject this, you're going to enter a world of confusion. Once you turn back on this remembrance, once the truth come to you and then you backslide, you go backwards, you reject that truth, you enter into particular states with Allah Azza wa Jal. And once you put yourself in that position, the door is open for Shaytan to have his way with you. But you're still going to receive Allah's mercy. Some of the worst people on this planet still receive the mercy of Allah. So from the front, Shaytan tries to cause fear and despair about your future by filling one's mind with dread, or by making one's future seem hopeless and bleak. Now, how can this happen to a Muslim? You can have 2 Muslims, let's say that they married, right? Let's say the woman has a 12-year-old son, and she been with this guy since her son was 4. So this 8 years. Because she got this guy with her, although the kid's actual father may have been best for him, but because she feel like she done found a replacement, she don't need the father no more. Right? She's looking at the future of her kid the wrong way. Although this man that she's with, she don't even like him. She don't even want to be with him. And in some cases, he don't like her and don't want to be with her either. But they may have built a life together. And then, so parts of them is concerned about the future. If I leave her, I'm not going to have this house anymore. I'm not going to have these cars anymore. I'm going to have to break down to the bare minimum and start all over. Her, although I don't like him, I don't want to leave. He's good for my son. If I walk away from this person who's horrible and got all these bad ways that I hide from my son because I feel like he's good for my son, which he might not be. Because he might be teaching your son how to be an idiot because he's an idiot. Right? I got to stay with him because it's going to break my heart to pull my son away from him. This is Shaytan playing with people's head. So they stay in these situations because the future looks bleak. The future isn't going to look as grand unless I stay in this situation that I don't like, that I'm not happy in. And keep in mind, they both Muslims. And this marriage is keeping not only the person who feeling this way, but it's keeping both of them from growing in the deen of Islam. And they on a path that Shaytan love and don't even know it and don't even care. And then you have situations where, because the inside of the home is so bleak and it's so detrimental to their mind and their heart, they might start figuring out ways to laugh to keep from crying. They might go hang out with some people, might even try to hang out together. How can we put this spark back in the marriage when there never was a spark even there? So they go and try to hang out. So now they getting high. Now they getting drunk. Now they come home and they intoxicated, and then they end up having sex because they intoxicated. And don't neither one of them want to have sex with each other. They won't touch each other. But now they have to get high and have to get drunk just to have sex with one another. But they Muslim. Now they turn into drugs and alcohol just to sleep with the people that they live with. You know what I'm saying? Or the trickery come in. Man, let me go get some of this fire smoke or some of these pills. Maybe if I could get her to take a few puffs of this marijuana, I can slide her underwears off later. This is Shaytan playing with their head, man. And they Muslim. And trust me, man, I see situations like this more than I care to talk about. And this is Shaytan attacking Muslims from the front. Yeah. Now, look at the second way, from behind. He uses their past to cause regret, guilt, and shame by making a person dwell on their past sins and mistakes to the point of demoralization. Some people, now look at this. They may have been in a relationship that was good for them, right? But they misunderstood it. They looked at it. Communication wasn't strong between both parties. But the relationship is something that they should have been in. It's something that could have led them to Jannah, but Shaytan played with their head and caused them to leave the relationship. So Shaytan talked them out of a situation that they should have been in, but then also used the same trick to have them stay in a situation that they shouldn't be in. And then, let's say these individuals, they find their way back. But because the way it went the first time, Shaytan played with their head, and now they're in this relationship scared. Just like it say. This is how Shaytan play with them, man. And when you have people who don't understand, although that Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Quran, He sent down the book and the hikmah, the wisdom, the explanation of these Quran ayats. But you have people that say we don't need nothing but the Quran. We don't need the hikmah. We don't need the explanation of being attacked from the front, back, the right and the left. We don't need how that's going to work. So because people reject the hikmah, this is just something that they read. And then if somebody who's slick, who want to sound knowledgeable, might be out there, Shaytan, man, he attacked the Ummah, man, he always trying to attack the Muslims from the front, the back, the right to the left. And somebody be like, oh yeah, how are you going to do that? Or, Shaytan just going to attack us. They can't explain nothing because they done rejected the hikmah. And because they might sound slick, they got people following them and they can't teach them nothing. People don't know how to protect themselves from an enemy that they can't see. You will let Shaytan keep you in that state. And look at that. Shaytan, because of a fear of this and that, the same fear, Shaytan will cause you to stay in a relationship that's detrimental to your deen, that's detrimental to your mind, that's detrimental to your heart, and detrimental to your private parts. Male and female. Male and female. But then, a situation that's completely the opposite, Shaytan will talk you into leaving that. And that's him attacking you from the back. From the right, Shaytan tempts individual to do lesser deeds. So when it's time to do the real good deeds that involve the deen, zakat, things like that, let's say you able to give $1,000. You can give $1,000 and don't miss it. Shaytan will trick you into just giving 10. Right? When it comes to the real good deeds, right? Instead of the greater ones, to distract them from more important acts of worship. So you got $1,000 that you can do to help some Muslims, that you can give in some zakat. Shaytan is going to trick you into giving $10, but then go blow $1,000 to please some other people. You might go blow this other $1,000 on food and alcohol and try to have some type of fight party, a Super Bowl party, a playoff party for basketball, the World Series for some non-Muslims, drinks, alcohol, pills, marijuana, intermingling in an impermissible way between men and women, providing a place for people to hook up. And you done spent your funds on that as a Muslim, man. As a Muslim, man. This is how Shaytan tricks you on that regard, right? And then, look at this. And then makes them feel self-righteous. Even if it's about the good that they doing. They get themselves the credit. I'm this. Allah loved me because I have this job. I have this material. I got this. I got that. Allah loves me. But when it comes to real ibadah, one thing when you know your Quran and you know certain things about hadith, what does it say? When Allah loves a person, when Allah wants good for a person, He gives them an understanding of this religion. And then these is people who know that they don't understand. I'm Muslim. I want to learn. I want to be this way. But they know deep down inside they don't have a full understanding of this religion. They know that they still need to be taught. But they tell themselves that they are the ones that Allah love because they done threw an extravagant party with alcohol and expensive meats and marijuana and mixed coupling, mingling, and hookups and everything going on, so that they can feel good. Or they want to impress some woman and get her there, and then they get some alcohol in them, and then they doing what they shouldn't be doing for the night. This is Shaytan playing with them from the right. Man, I'm one of Allah's best soldiers. I'm the true servant of Allah. I'm crazy about Allah, man. It's Allah or nothing. But when it's time to go take some classes, or when it's time to do what you need to do to get an understanding of this religion, you ain't one of Allah's best soldiers when that time come, though, is you? It's easy to be a soldier when it ain't no war. What makes you one of Allah's best soldiers? What are you doing? You can't even get in the classroom and get an understanding of this religion. Because Shaytan get in your head and make you mentally cast land, man. He making you lazy mentally. Then you start to become lazy physically. You one of Allah's best soldier, but you won't even go learn your religion. But then put you in a room full of people and you will try to teach it. This is Shaytan playing with you, B. This is Shaytan attacking you from the right. But we don't understand that, though. We don't understand that. And then Shaytan attacking you from the left is he attacks a person's current spiritual duties and life using forbidden things, right? And making permissible things seem more appealing to distract them, right? He also uses deception and doubt to make a person forget Allah and his teachings. Okay? Some of this basically is people who's treating Salah like a prayer. You're not even focusing on worshiping Allah. You're not even focusing on connecting to Allah. You focused on getting a job. You focused on getting a raise. You focused on this money coming through so that you can shine on the community. So you can be out here looking good like everybody else. That's what your salat is for. That's what your salat is for. Then use how you rejecting Quran ayats about what salah really is. Yeah. And it's right here in your Quran. It's right here in the hikmah that a lot of these same individuals reject. And it's easy for me to speak on it because I was once one of these individuals. Everything that I'm talking about was me. Everything that I'm talking about was me, man. Yeah. And the beauty of it is a lot of people is going to be able to relate to this. Because some of us is living the exact same life. Just different stages of it. Everything you going through, I went through the exact same thing. There's just some subtle differences. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, man. Shaytan, boy, if you don't accept this deen the way that you supposed to, Shaytan gonna play with you, man. Shaytan gonna play with you. Shaytan will trick you into staying in a situation you never should have been in. And then trick you into leaving a situation that you never was supposed to leave. Shaytan will trick you into standing up for 20 rakats of Taraweeh prayer, go home, sleep, and then come right back up to the masjid and stand in there and do tahajjud and however many rakats they're going to do to be seen, to get married, to get a better job, to pass some exams. Ain't none of that got nothing to do with connecting to Allah and worshiping Allah and praising Allah. just for the simple fact that you can breathe through your nose. Air that you can't even see, that Allah Azza wa Jal provided for you. Not even the fact is using that as praise for the simple fact that Allah Azza wa Jal allows you to go to sleep and not die. You ain't even in control of your body when you sleep. That Allah allows you to breathe, whether it's through difficulty or what's going on while you're sleeping. Whether you stop breathing at some points, no matter what it is, Allah allow you to go through that and still wake up and get up. Even if you hooked up to machines, even if you had to take pills before you go to bed, you not finna stand up in the masjid during Ramadan and do 20 rakats for that. Shaytan playing with you. You finna go do 20 rakats because you want a fancy house, fancy clothes, fancy cars, and fancy knickknacks and pictures around your house, with a bunch of fake friends and other type of people that you feel like supposed to be happy for you, and they ain't do nothing but just get madder and more upset every time they come around you. And you have individuals, they go in debt. Imagine this, man. This is how mixed up and confused some of us Muslims are. You have Muslims who go in debt and don't even pay their bills because they trying to please and entertain their own haters. People going in debt, going broke, trying to please their haters, B. Real good jobs, supervisors, all type of stuff, man. Can't even keep your head out the cloud, man, trying to please your haters, man. That ain't confusion, because you didn't stay connected. You didn't get up and hold tight to the reminder, that dhikr of Allah. You didn't glorify and praise Allah. You went and prayed for something. You went through the motions of trying to get something. You understand, man? It's a slippery slope, man, and it's right here. Surah number 7, ayat number 17 and 16. Because you did this to me, I'm going to be on Sirat al-Mustaqim and ambush anybody that's on it. Yeah. How am I going to do that? I'm going to attack them from the front. I'm going to attack them from the back. I'm going to attack them from the right. And I'm going to attack them from the left. And once I start attacking them, you're going to see how ungrateful that they are. They ain't no different than me. They gonna fall into everything that I fell into. I'm disgraced and I'm rejected. Now they finna be a disgrace and be rejected too. And you know what Allah told them? Do your thing, and I'm gonna fill hell up with you and them. All of y'all going to hell. They gonna be exactly like you, and they going to the same place as you. Why you pouting? Y'all going to the exact same place. you ain't finna show me nothing that I don't already know. Who you telling? There go your company right there. I got a place for you all. But let me get off of here, man. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.